I come from a family of community organizers. I often tell people that the metaphor for my life is a cup of coffee. The reason I say that is because my earliest memories of community organizing was when I was 2 years old, and I remember asking my parents for coffee. Why did I want coffee? I'm sure it was more sugar water than anything, but it was because people were gathered around the coffee pot making plans for the future, and that has really resonated in my spirit all of these decades later. So improving the quality of life is extremely important. Organizing people, galvanizing them, getting them engaged. A lot of people have a desire for improvement, but they're not always inspired. And so that's where the Aaha project comes in. Yes, I love the term aha, because we always think about that we have those aha moments, those brilliant sparks. Well, what aha represents is not only that brilliant spark, but it literally represents the African American Health Assessment Project. It's designed as a collaborative project, galvanizing people throughout the state, getting their feedback, getting their perceptions, but also, and more importantly, not just talking about the state of Black health in New Mexico, but what are we going to do about it? It's all focused on wellness, being aware of our health situation and beginning to take some actions that are going to modify our behavior and result in a healthy outcome for our community.
I grew up here, so I'm used to being the only Black at the store, at the school, for me, it's uncommon to be in a room with this many Black people that I'm not related to.
Often in research, they look at African Americans because we only represent about 3.4% of the population in Bernalillo County, about 2% of the population in all of New Mexico. So often what they say is that we're statistically insignificant. Still, African Americans lead across the board with diseases. And so the Aaha project is really designed to get at the root of the problem and to get the African American community engaged in solving their own problems.
I went to the doctor for one thing, my high blood pressure. I was taking one pill a day, and then they took 2 pills a day. And then they switched it because this is better for African Americans, we found. And then they switched it again because that wasn't working after a while. Maybe I'm not Black enough. I don't know. Okay, that escalated. I started with one problem and now I have 11. Every medication I take creates depression.
Wow.
That's one of the side effects. They say may. They always, they qualify by saying may. It does. So then I have to take a depression medication to counteract the effects of the other medications that I'm taking. Yes, at some point you have to use common sense and say, I'm not going to do this. This is wrong. It's not right for me. But at the same time, I'm sitting here not just with high blood pressure, but now I have diabetes. I have chronic kidney disease and many other little things that are going on in addition to the depression. And I feel like I've been screwed more so by the doctors because they're enhancing the pharmaceutical companies' pocket, and I'm sitting here, stuck on stupid. Who's going to tell me what I need to cut out? Who, someone that you can trust.
Right.
You don't know who to trust.
Right.
Because my mother, for taking care of her for over 16 years, watching her take all the meds and heart disease, diabetic, obesity, all of it. I have a spirit of fear of doctors and the medicines.
A real big theme is fear. That a lot of African Americans are afraid concerning their health and they are not proactive. They're afraid because they've seen other family members suffering with alcoholism, diabetes, drug addiction, all kinds of physical ailments, and they don't want that to happen, but they're not always taking the proactive steps to ensure that that does not occur.
We center everything we do around food. If we're happy, we eat.
If we're sad, we eat. If somebody dies, we eat.
To be black was to be, I gotta have greens, I gotta have meat, I gotta have some fat back, but you just couldn't have a salad. You couldn't have this. So in order to say your blackness, you go to a soul food that says you're black. And so to hold on to a heritage or a culture was so very important. Yes, we eat, but that's culturally based. So to be vegetarian 40 years ago and not eating meat or pork or chicken or turkey was really outside the norm. And as a result of that, you know, by the grace of God, I'll take any medicine. So for 40 years, I have no high blood pressure. None of this, by God's grace, but it's definitely how you eat.
Yes.
Some amazing things that I see recurring are things regarding how we eat. People are very concerned about their eating habits, looking at the historical ways we've eaten collards and chitlins and all that heavy food when we were working out in the fields, and we want to continue eating that way, but we don't have an active lifestyle that balances that out.
And so I think we have to change the way in which we define black culture. And it's not about the food that we eat. And how do we define that? We have to define it and not the society that does it.
So in our first round of focus group, we found that people had difficulty really talking about a better community. And perhaps that's because we're so stuck in what we're experiencing right now, and we don't necessarily have a whole lot of solutions. It's hard to envision a beautiful community, a well community, a healthy community. And so what we decided to do at the subsequent groups was to get them engaged in an art activity.
All right, everybody stand up, grab your marker. You get to use your artistic ability.
And so we used that as an icebreaker, and they had to use their drawing skills. Some of them did stick figures and that kind of thing. But it really was to liberate their mind so that when we began to discuss it later on, they would have great fluidity in terms of their discussion.
Most important, I have homes here. And in the homes, we know each other, we share a nice garden with each other. And if you see, I have people that are sitting in their homes and they're eating. And what they're eating is the food that has been produced in the garden. If we really look into our health or our wellness, we know that a lot of our problems do stem from what we eat.
About us needing to take action, I wanted to challenge you guys. What is it that we can do?
I am a smoker. I was influenced by my grandparents, my grandfather actually. I was adopted by my grandparents, so that's who I live with. And my grandfather, he was a smoker for as long as I can remember. He said he started at 12 years old, and he had 2 triple bypass surgeries, heart surgeries or something like that. So my action would be to definitely stop smoking, to exercise, and to be more conscious of what my consequences are.
There was a health fair here in Roswell on the last Saturday, and the person who facilitates that is Michael Richardson, who works for the Public Health Department. And what he has told me, last year, this year, he told me he cannot get the black people to participate. That's what he's told me. Hospitals were there, the different agencies were there, mental health was there, they had their information there on the tables. This was a free event.
You know, having great events is wonderful, but if no one shows up, then it's not very meaningful. So a real big part of that is how we market to the African American community. First of all, we have to understand that there are gatekeepers in every community, and we have to be strategic about who those people are.
We have such small numbers, but yet we have so many leaders. So if our leaders would just start promoting better health outcomes, say we demand better health outcomes for our African American community, then I think that would definitely alleviate some of the barriers.
Sometime, we have Bible study at church. Why not have a class where on health orientation? Those people that's sick and in the church, a way to get them out, even if it's in the daytime, for even the older people, have a class, talking about health issues, how to eat right and get our body in order.
But the other part is looking at the everyday marketing. How do we influence people on an everyday local basis? We know that African Americans, research-wise, generally consume a lot of television, for example.
As a smoker, the most effective commercials are the ones with the people that have a
trouble. Yes.
I mean, yeah, I can't even, when I see that, it's like seeing a scary movie commercial. I change the channel as fast as I can. I'm like, nah.
What's going to happen for advertising to advance is they're going to have to change the model.
And then how do we get to strategic groups like millennials? That's important, that we reach them through social media.
But computers, it's too much stuff. It's just like the phones, it's too much. I want to ring and, get you on the phone, and I want you to call me back. Other than that,
And then when we look at elderly and people in the winter years of their life, they may be on the other side of the digital divide. So how do we reach them? So the Aaha project is really being very thorough and very meticulous about how we reach out to people. If African Americans are leading across the board, statistically, in pretty much every area of health, of morbidities and mortalities, it means that the rates of hospitalization, of ER admissions, especially now in the area where the Affordable Care Act is in peril, a program like Aaha is instrumental in moving the Black community forward. Without the Aaha project, there are no people to share about their own lived experience. Without the Aaha project, there are researchers coming in, making suggestions about what should happen in the community, rather than the voice coming from the people who are marginalized. That's what will happen without Aaha.